Intro music fades in and out. 0:100 to 0:30. Introduction. The arrival. Imagine a world steeped in ancient rhythms, where the rustle of leaves and the distant bleating of sheep were the loudest sounds. Then, from the cold, grey sea, a shadow emerges. A long, slender ship, propelled by oars and a single square sail, glides silently towards the shore. On board, men with weathered faces and glinting axes, their eyes fixed on the unsuspecting coastline. This wasn't a friendly visit. This was the harbinger of an age of terror, exploration, and profound change. The Viking Age? 0:30 to 1 o'clock. The Catalyst. Lindisfarne. 793 AD. The year is 793 AD. The tranquil monastic island of Lindisfarne, off the coast of Northumbria, a beacon of learning and spirituality in Anglo-Saxon England, was about to become a symbol. On a summer's day, these fearsome Norsemen descended. They sacked the monastery, slaughtered monks, desecrated altars, and carried off treasures and captives. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle records the horror. Never before in Britain has such a terror appeared. This brutal raid is widely considered the traditional start of the Viking Age, a period that would reshape the political, cultural, and genetic landscape of Europe and beyond for the next 3 centuries. 1 o'clock to 1:45. Who were the Vikings? Beyond the stereotype. But who were these people? Often painted solely as bloodthirsty barbarians, the term Viking itself likely derives from the Old Norse vikinga, possibly meaning expedition overseas or pirate. They were a diverse group, hailing from what we now call Scandinavia, modern-day Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. They were farmers, fishermen, artisans, traders, and, yes, formidable warriors. Their motivations were complex. A search for land, wealth, trade routes, and perhaps even fame and adventure. Population growth in their homelands, coupled with technological advancements in shipbuilding, fueled their outward expansion. They weren't a unified empire but rather independent chieftains and kin groups, each pursuing their own ambitions. 1:45 to 2:30. The Longship, a masterpiece of engineering. At the heart of their success was the Longship. This wasn't merely a boat. It was a technological marvel. Perhaps one of the most sophisticated vessels of its time. Crafted from oak, pine, or ash, these clinker-built ships were shallow-draughted, allowing them to navigate both the open ocean and shallow rivers, giving the Vikings unparalleled strategic flexibility. They could beach their vessels quickly, strike, and vanish before organized resistance could form. The Gokstad ship, excavated in Norway, stands as a testament to their shipbuilding prowess, demonstrating speed, stability, and seaworthiness. This mastery of the seas allowed them to project power and influence across vast distances, connecting disparate cultures in ways previously unimaginable. 2:30 to 3:30. Early raids and the Great Heathen Army. c. 793 to 878 AD. Following Lindisfarne, the raids intensified. Isolated monasteries and coastal settlements across Britain and Ireland became easy targets. By the mid-9th century, the hit-and-run tactics evolved. No longer content with seasonal raids, larger forces began to overwinter. In 865 AD, something unprecedented arrived. The Great Heathen Army. This wasn't a raiding party. It was a formidable invasion force. a coalition of Norse warriors led by figures like Halfdan Ragnarsson and Ivar the Boneless. They systematically conquered Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. East Anglia, Northumbria, and Mercia fell. Only Wessex, under the shrewd leadership of King Alfred the Great, managed to resist their onslaught. After years of brutal warfare, culminating in the Battle of Edington in 878 AD, Alfred secured a decisive victory. The subsequent Treaty of Wedmore established the Danelaw, a vast swath of eastern England where Viking law and custom prevailed. This marked a profound shift from raiding to settlement and the creation of new political entities. 330 to 430. Westward expansion. Iceland, Greenland, and Vinland. While some Vikings were carving out kingdoms in England, others looked further west, driven by a thirst for land and adventure. Norse explorers pushed into the North Atlantic. Around 870 AD, Ingolfur Arnason is traditionally credited with establishing the first permanent Norse settlement in Iceland, founding Reykjavik. From Iceland, further voyages led to the discovery of Greenland by Eric the Red in the late 10th century. But the most astonishing journey, and one of our compelling historical facts, was yet to come. Around 1000 AD, Leif Erikson, son of Eric the Red, sailed even further west, landing on the shores of North America, a place they called Vinland, Wine Land, or Pasture Land. Archaeological evidence at Lancey Oaks Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada, confirms the presence of a Norse settlement centuries before Christopher Columbus. This incredible feat of exploration demonstrates their unparalleled seafaring capabilities and adventurous spirit. 430 to 530. Eastern routes. The Rus and the Varangian Guard. But the Vikings' reach wasn't confined to the West Swedish Vikings, known as the Rus, traveled east along the vast river systems of Eastern Europe. They established crucial trade routes, linking Scandinavia to the Byzantine Empire and the Abbasid Caliphate. They founded trading posts that grew into major cities like Kyiv and Novgorod, laying the foundations for what would become the Rus estates and eventually Russia. These Eastern Vikings traded furs, amber, and slaves for silver, silk, and spices. Many of these Norsemen eventually served as elite mercenaries in the Byzantine Emperor's personal guard, the fearsome Varangian Guard, renowned for their loyalty and prowess in battle. Their presence from the North Atlantic to the Black Sea truly illustrates the global reach of their influence. 530 to 630. Viking society and culture. More than just warriors. Beyond the battlefields and longships, Viking society was sophisticated and highly organized. Their social structure was hierarchical, comprising jarls, noblemen, carls, freemen, and thralls, slaves. They had a strong sense of justice, with disputes often settled at assemblies called things, where laws were recited and legal judgments made. Their mythology was rich and complex, filled with gods like Odin, Thor, and Freyja, and epic sagas that recount heroic deeds and lineage. Runic writing, though not widely used for literature, served for inscriptions, memorials, and magical purposes. Viking women, particularly in the early period, enjoyed a surprising degree of independence compared to many contemporary European societies. They could own property, divorce their husbands, and even lead households in their men's absence. This nuanced view challenges the simplistic image of mere raiders. 630 to 730. The Norman legacy. Vikings in France. The Vikings also left an indelible mark on continental Europe. In the early 10th century, A formidable Norse chieftain named Rollo led his warriors to repeatedly raid the Frankish kingdom. After a protracted siege of Paris, the Frankish king Charles the Simple, desperate to stem the tide, made a fateful decision in 911 AD. He granted Rollo and his Norsemen a large territory in northern France in exchange for their loyalty and a promise to defend the kingdom from other Viking incursions. This territory became known as Normandy, land of the Northmen. Over time, these Norse settlers adopted Frankish customs, language, and Christianity, evolving into the Normans. A century and a half later, in 1066, William the Conqueror, a descendant of Rollo, would lead his Norman army across the English Channel, conquering England and forever changing its history. The Norman conquest, therefore, represents a direct continuation of Viking influence, albeit in a highly assimilated form. 730 to 830. The decline and Christianization. By the late 10th and early 11th centuries, the Viking Age began to wane. A key factor was the gradual Christianization of Scandinavia. As kings like Harald Bluetooth of Denmark and Olaf Tryggvason of Norway converted, they sought to consolidate power and establish more stable, centralized monarchies, often aligning with wider European Christian powers. The independent, raiding lifestyle became less compatible with these new political and religious structures. Although raids continued, they were increasingly organized by established kingdoms rather than independent warlords. 830 to 930. The end of an era. Stamford Bridge. 1066 AD. The symbolic end of the Viking Age is often placed in the year 1066. In that fateful year, England faced two invasions. First, Harald Hardrada, the king of Norway and a formidable warrior, launched a massive invasion, aiming to reclaim the English throne. He was met by the English king Harold Godwinson at the Battle of Stamford Bridge on the 25th of September, 1066. In a brutal and decisive battle, Hardrada and most of his army were slain. This marked the last major Viking invasion of England. Just weeks later, Harold Godwinson himself would fall at the Battle of Hastings to William the Conqueror. The era of the independent Norse raider was over. The age of organized Christian monarchies had begun. 9:30 to 10 o'clock. Conclusion. The enduring legacy. The Vikings left an indelible mark on history. Their legacy is far more complex than the berserker stereotype suggests. They were not just raiders but also sophisticated traders, master shipbuilders, intrepid explorers who reached North America, and skilled artisans. Their impact is still felt today in language. Words like anger, sky, leg, and window have Old Norse roots in place names across Britain, Ireland, and beyond, and in the very genetic makeup of many European populations. They connected continents, forged new states, and pushed the boundaries of human endurance and exploration. The Viking Age was a period of profound transformation, a testament to human courage, ambition, and the enduring spirit of adventure. Their sagas continue to captivate us, reminding us that history, in all its brutal glory, is never truly black and white. Outro music fades in.